on how to prepare for the next pandemic and the experience and innovations for past epidemic. I'm sure some of you who know Hong Kong know about the 1997 H5N1 outbreak in Hong Kong. So one of the lessons that we learned from this first outbreak that I encountered in my career in 1997 is that the chicken die first, and then people start to die, right? So that is the first lesson. And it means that the first sign of an emerging epidemic is often the increased deaths in farms, wet market, and finally people. And of course, most of you now know that we recently have a young healthcare worker that died in Princess Margaret Hospital. And that is great concern because a young immunocompetent individual suddenly died very rapidly within 24 hours on presentation is extremely unusual. And for emerging infectious disease, we are always very careful about surveillance in animals and surveillance in humans, especially young healthcare workers. I'm sure you know that in 2003 SARS, the same happened, healthcare workers, and even COVID, the same happens. Now, this is the food consumption structure of urban and rural residents in Guangdong. You can see here that in the year 1993, the poultry consumption is only around 12 kilograms. And then in 2002, which goes up to 17.64 kilograms. Now, an interesting question that as the economy in mainland China, in Greater Bay Area is improving, there is increase in demand for meat. So we'll ask the question, what would happen in another 20 years' time in the Greater Bay Area? That is Hong Kong. You can see here the poultry consumption increases from 9.6, the poultry is 9.6 kilograms to 20, which is 100 times within 30 years. Now, so you would anticipate that in Greater Bay Area, especially in the cities, the amount of meat consumption should markedly increase, double the number of animals in farms, and double the animals in the market. And that, of course, our predictions is that bird flu will come again. And here you can see that our predictions is correct because science is highly predictive, that in 1997 we have H5N1, and 16 years later we have H7N9. Now, Hong Kong at 1997 is actually the most important economic center of the Pearl River Delta. And in 2013, Shanghai has this H7N9 outbreak, and Shanghai is actually the most flourishing economic center of the Yangtze River Delta. So you can see that almost always emerging infection starts in places where the economy is rapidly flourishing. The demand for meat protein, poultry protein, and increasing. Now, and then we make further predictions.